Welcome back, everyone. Maybe I need to pull myself up because that watermark is blocking my face. Could just remove the watermark from the video. And if I put myself up here, replace, just for the day. Well, maybe not just for the day, but for the time being, because there's stuff on the left side that I want to write and stuff, and then we're going to be talking about other things as well on that particular side. So I don't want to block with my big head. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Hope you guys doing all right. Of course, like I always say, feel free to ask questions. I'll answer them obviously. If they are another topic in a different time, then I'm gonna ask you to wait until you ask that question. Like, let's say, just for an example, if I'm talking about Tryndamere and then someone asks a question about Lulu, even though we talked about Lulu before, I'd rather you just wait until the end so that we can kind of hop back without interrupting the lesson plan. But let me get everything all situated. You guys know how I do. I gotta let people know that I started, and then we will go about doing our thing. Of course, I always leave the screen black just so I can navigate my menus behind the scene without anyone seeing anything in particular. But yeah, if anybody got any questions, anyone want to say anything, feel free. I'm perfectly okay with it. Be right back for a quick second, though. All right, hope you guys weren't doing anything you guys shouldn't have been doing while I was away. Y'all know how some of you jokesters are. Had to send a few of y'all to the principal's office already. Y'all ain't playing. Okay. So, let me go ahead and, like I said, continue to just kind of let people know what's going on. And then we will start. Do I usually post it in YouTube? No, I usually post it in Twitch streams. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We are going to share with Twitter. Those Steel Legion splash arts look really cool. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's on Riot's page. Riot's Twitter page, and they have the splash arts of it. Looks pretty cool. Udyr update is now on PBE, so we've got some high res turnarounds for all your spirit needs. Well, there you go. There you have it. They just posted, I think about an hour ago, saying that Udyr is on PBE. Go nuts if you guys want to play the reworked version. Oh, there's one more place I wanted to share it. Oh yeah, I need to start using my community post on YouTube to share that that I am live. All right, I posted everything. We're good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and close all this. I guess I just go to their site. All right. So as I said before, we're gonna be talking about runes and stats, but we'll go over the stats first because in order to understand runes, you got to understand stats. And also, we're going to be doing an item video as well, an item class. So make sure you get that buckled. You guys know what I need to do. I need to write the word stats. So that way I just know. We'll consider the first part just intro. And then we'll add the stats. And then we'll do runes. So we'll try to keep it pretty concise. We'll try to make sure that it's not too crazy. Let me go ahead and share my screen now. And you guys can see what I see. There it goes. All right. Boom. Now you guys can probably see why. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter if my head's up there or down there, but we'll just, oh yeah, because I said the watermark, huh? Whatever. Oh, let me go ahead and just cover myself because it's white. Dang, that's the downside to that too. I guess I could just change the color of it. Hold up. Technical difficulties. I'm sorry. Where's the color? What color would be good? Black? Would black be the play? Pog. All right, so it's black. I don't like how it's like blurry, but we'll deal with it. All right. So these are pretty much all the stats we have in League of Legends. We have attack damage, we have ability power, we have attack speed, we have crit strike chance, we have crit strike damage, we have lifesteal, we have omni vamp, we have physical vamp, we have armor, we have magic resist, we have heal and shield power, we have health regeneration, we have tenacity, we have slow resistance, we have ability haste, energy regeneration, mana regeneration, experience, gold generation, movement speed, and range. Those are all the stats that we have in League of Legends. Now, why is this important? Because everything that you do in League pretty much influences your stats. Leveling up influences your stats. Some champions, like I'll just use Sion as an example. Some champions influence the stats based off what they do in game. For Sion, the more minions that he gets, the more HP he gets, which is a stat, right? Then you have runes that also dictate kind of how your stats go. So stats are very, very important to understand because you can have an edge over your opponent based off what you're buying. And as I said, I will make an item video. Well, not an item video. I will have an item class. I do have an item video already out, but I want to actually go really, really in depth and talk about it and answer you guys' questions when it comes to items, because I know items is a pretty big thing and a lot of people just go off of recommendations. So I want to, just make sure that we can clarify on what items do. Maybe in this situation it's better in that situation. So yeah, that's something that I want to do as well. So let's go ahead and look at the attack damage here. So what is attack damage? Attack damage is basically physical damage. So physical damage, most of the time melee attacks are physical damage. There's some champs that do AP auto attacks, but most of the time they are physical damage. There was a change though, to where if you hit towers, you actually don't do physical damage. You do AP damage, and it's based off how much AP you have. So I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but it scales in a certain way that towers do something called adapt. And so there is a stat. It's not necessarily a stat, but it's the way that the game calculates your AD and your AP, and it's called adaptive force. And in which case, based off what's going on in the game, based off how much AP or AD you have, it will in turn have your champion pump out AP damage or AD damage. Now, a good example of this is Camille. Camille can hit you and get a shield. Let me see if I can pull it up here, because I'm going to talk about the runes later. But let me see if I can pull up Camille here, and I can show you guys what I mean. There she goes. All right. All right. So look, her passive, if she hits a specific target, it gives her magic shield or a physical shield, right? And so what that means is that, again, it's basically adapting. The game is trying to register which one do you have more of, right? And so when you're hitting towers, it does that too, where it will basically do as much damage as, it'll do the physical or magic damage that your champion has. There are some stipulations to this. Udyr, for example, based off what stance he's in, he actually has the ability to trick the game. What do I mean by that? Tiger Stance doesn't give you AP. It doesn't give you attack damage either, but the primary source that Tiger Stance would be using is indeed AD, right? Now, if we turn it to Phoenix, the game registers Phoenix as being AP, primarily because you do more AP damage when you are in Phoenix form. If Camille hits you and you are in Tiger, she will get an AD shield. If Camille hits you and you are in Phoenix, she will get an AP shield. On top of that, if you hit a tower and Tiger Stance, you'll usually do AD unless you have some blaring item like Magi's. Then the game's like, bro, you got too much AP. And then in Phoenix Stance, again, unless you have some blaring AD stat, it should still give you AP. It's weird. But that's something to think about. Okay, so that's what we're talking about when it comes to adaptive force. So if we go ahead and go back to here, physical damage is usually, like I said, melee, unless your champion is dealing with an adaptive type of thing in the game itself. Now, ability power. What is ability power? Oh, and again, attack damage, physical damage is countered by armor. Okay, so armor counters the physical damage and the attack damage. So ability power. Well, this is pretty simple. It's just magic damage. I don't really know why League of Legends doesn't call it magic damage. It just actually says ability power, which is weird. I always thought about it, and I was like, why don't they just say it's magic damage? But because, attack damage is usually considered physical, and then you have magic damage in games usually considered magical. So I just always thought that was weird. I'm not really tripping off of it. But the counter to magic damage is going to be magic resist. Next, we have attack speed. So attack speed is actually a really cool stat because it makes the game flow a lot easier. So why is attack speed something that it's good to have later? For physical champions, it's good to have a lot more attack speed. And when it comes to magic champions, it's good to have it to CS. I don't know if you guys ever tried to CS with a champion that lacks attack speed, especially early when you're playing mages, but it's pretty hard. It's like one of the hardest things to do. Last hit with a mage that has no attack speed and your abilities are extremely high cooldown. Attack speed is something that will make your character's auto attacks be faster. So what are auto attacks? Generally speaking, if you click a target, whether it be a champion, whether it be a minion, whether it be a monster, jungle camp, whatever, if you hit something that your champion, or if you click something that your champion can attack, and you don't press any abilities, it's going to do something called an auto attack. And pretty much, that's its basic attack. It's a basic attack. So it will look like Camille's. So I'm just going to use Camille as an example because I already got it pulled up. She'll just walk up. Okay, let's say I just clicked Victor. Camille herself would just walk into it and just auto attack. That's all. That's pretty much what a basic attack is. It's what an auto attack is. So when we talk about attack speed, it influences that and it'll make it quicker. So some champions actually can animation cancel faster because they have higher attack speed. ADCs can kite easier because they have higher attack speed. There's a lot that champs can do once they break a threshold of attack speed, which is really, really cool. Certain champs can pull it off, some champs can't, but it's really cool in my opinion that some champs can abuse that stat. So attack speed is going to be how fast your basic attacks come out. Now, if we even take this a step further, there's champs like Yasuo. So if we go ahead and look at Yasuo real quick. There's a couple other champions too, like Yone, and then there's another one. I'm pretty sure there's another one, and then another one, and then a couple more. But Yasuo's Q, it actually scales with attack speed. So as fast as he can stab, it scales with attack speed. So this is why up to a cap, it eventually stops. But this is why in the early game, it seems like it takes a long time for him to toss his tornadoes. But later into the game, it's really quick. He's like Q's, Q, 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 right? Over and over and over again. Now, if you're a Yasuo player, you probably already do this. Maybe you don't, but fun fact, there you go. But if you're not a Yasuo player and you always wondered, why, I'm trying to get the timing right. How many seconds is the cooldown for his Q? Well, it's based off of his attack speed. Okay? So, now you know. Next, we have critical strike chance. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. The chance you have of landing a crit strike. What is a crit strike? Pretty much just amplified damage. And AP champions can crit as well. Keep that in mind. Now that I think about it, is that only in TFT? I think that's only in TFT now that I think about it. I forgot. I'm pretty sure they can. They either they can't, and some champions can because it's in their kit, or they can. So we'll just stick to the generic AP can critically strike as well. Then next we have critical strike damage. So this is going to be the damage amplified by crit strike. So this will do more damage. So let's say your crit strike is 100. With crit strike damage, it's going to boost that up. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's just TFT. I think there are some champs that can crit with AP. It's very small. but I don't think that's an actual stat for AP. I think crit strike is just meant for AD. I was thinking about TFT. But the damage amplified by the strike. So things like IE, Infinity Edge. If you read it, I can pull that up too. Hold up. It's all in the client. It's all in the client, right? It does a really good job of like leaving everything in the client for us to go about using. So if we go ahead and go to IE, I'll just type it in. Right. It says that you get a 30, if you have at least 60% critical strike chance, you gain a 35% critical strike damage. So again, it amplifies your crit strike damage. Now we have lifesteal. The amount of health you get back per auto attack. Now, why is lifesteal different from Omnivamp? Good question. Lifesteal is something that you can only do with basic attacks, with auto attacks. Omnivamp is actually something you can do by just using an ability. So keep that in mind there. Lifesteal is with basic attacks. Omnivamps are with abilities. So amount of HP you get back per ability. I don't want to say per ability, but that's kind of the best way to put it. Then you have physical vamp. Now this is a stat that Riot brought out a long time ago, and I don't think it's been used that much. I think the closest thing we can get to physical vamp is the Elixir of Wrath, that 500 gold potion. If you use ability, and if you use an ability, at least on a champion, you have physical vamp. So I mean, it's weird, but I'll just say amount of HP you get back based on physical damage. It's a stat, like I said, it's not really used that much. Usually people just use the Omnivamp. Like I think all champs just use Omnivamp. They don't really use the physical vamp, but I think when it comes to that elixir, it is considered physical vamp. Armor, a stat to reduce physical damage, right? Magic resist, a stat to reduce magic damage. Oh, I'll just say ability power. Ability damage. I don't really like that. See, even magic resist would just make more sense with magic damage. But I want to kind of keep it the same terminology so you guys are not confusing things. Heal and shield power. So there are some champions. John is a good example where the heals and shields get amplified. Moonstone also does this. It amplifies your healing and shielding. I think Staff of Water does it. Ardent Sensor maybe does it. But there are items and champions that do that. So we'll just say the amount your heals and shields are boosted. That's like the best way I could put that one. Health, pretty much the amount of HP you have. So just your regular HP. Health regeneration is the amount of HP you get back per second or seconds. Now it can be per second, so it doesn't have to be per second. I think Doran Shield's a prime example. When you heal back the damage you take, it is through a couple of seconds. It's not through per second. So keep that in mind. It does vary. It's not the same. Tenacity. So tenacity is one of those things that, especially when I was just getting into League, it was confusing. So what does tenacity actually do? You guys will know that tenacity reduces CC, basically. Like that's like the basic way you could put it. But it actually doesn't reduce CC. It reduces the time the CC takes effect. So as an example, if you're stunned, it makes the stun shorter. If you are knocked up, though, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for knockups, and it doesn't work for suppressions. Those are going to last however long it lasts, no matter what. Snared is the same thing. Rooted is the same thing. So it reduces the length of how long you are in that state. Now, don't confuse it with slow resistance, because that's what happened when I was new to League of Legends. When I even knew, I was actually like playing ranked and I still thought it was the same. So the way tenacity works into slows is it does the same thing. It reduces how long the slow is. It doesn't reduce the potency of it. So if we think about Nasus, for example, if he withers us, it's going to be the same 90% slow. 90%, I think it's 90%. I don't think it gets to 99. It might get to 99. It feels like you're snared, to be real, if he withers you. But it's not going to reduce the percentage of slow. To do that, you have slow resistance, which are considered Swifty boots. Swifty boots are those that actually handles the slow, the percentage of slow, not the length. It's weird. So tenacity, shorten the amount of time the crowd control ability takes effect. Now, slow resistance, it will shorten the percent of the slow itself, but it will not, like the slow is 5 seconds. Buying Swift boots will not make the slow 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. That's what tenacity does. Slow resistance just reduces the percent of the slow. So if it's a 90% slow, if it's what, 20% slower, I'm just throwing a number out. 20% slow resistance and it's 90% slow, you're at 70% slow instead of 90%, but the duration still remains the same. Hope that makes sense to you guys there. Next we have ability haste. So this pretty much is just cooldown for your abilities. That's pretty much what it is. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy. It's just exactly what it seems like. It's just cooldown for your abilities. Now we could just kind of go in further detail. Cooldown is the length of time your ability takes to come back up. So if my original cooldown, again, I'm throwing numbers, but if my original cooldown is 10 seconds and I buy ability haste, then it should be about 8 seconds instead of 10 seconds. And now I said before, things like Yasuo, Yone, and there's a couple other champions, they do scale with attack speed. So you don't lower their cooldown by just ability haste. You actually lower it by the attack speed you have. And I think there's actually a champion, and I don't remember, but I think there is a champion that lowers their cooldown by having ability power. Again, hey, don't quote me on that one. The next thing we have is energy. So energy pretty much is stamina. It's for things like Akali. It's for things like Kennen. You don't really have mana, you have energy. So it's the yellow bar underneath the champion. I don't know if I can pull up a champ through this and it will show you. I don't know if that's how it works. Let me check. I don't think it does. I don't think they'll show you the stamina. Yeah, they don't show you the bar above the head. So, I mean, I could show you, but I don't think I have to. So, energy is going to be a yellow bar. Mana is going to be a blue bar, okay? So basically, what it is just, oops. We're just going to say a resource your abilities pull from to use. So the cost of your abilities. And this actually just goes to the same as mana. So we could probably just combine the two of them and we can erase it here because it's the same thing. And it's the same thing here too. Mana regeneration and energy regeneration is the exact same thing. It's just different stats. So we'll say the amount of energy / mana you get back per second or seconds. Remember, both. Now, experience. So I don't know if you guys know this, but we can go ahead and look at it right now. If you go down to in-game and you go to the interface right here. Once you scroll down, you should see combat text. I usually recommend my students to have all of this turned on. It's very, very important that you have it all turned on. I mean, it's not, but it is. Because you can see how much experience you get from certain things. So if you're a jungler, okay, Gromp gives me this much experience for this run. I can calculate how much it'll take to get to my next level. Gold popping out is huge. I do recommend that you put gold, and I recommend that you put mana, and I recommend that you put health, heal. And then I recommend that you put damage as well. Like these are going to be texts that pop up as you are in the game. If I hit a minion, it's going to say, I got 21 experience and like 21 gold. Just throwing random numbers out. But it's very useful. So I recommend you have that on. But anyway, experience is just the amount. Well, it's not really the amount. The value used to determine when you level up. Pretty much self-explanatory there. Gold generation, on the other hand, is different. So gold generation is pretty much the amount of gold you get over a few seconds. Oh, I'll say a second or a second or seconds. That just doesn't sound right, but it's kind of the same there. So when it comes to this, there's actually some items in the game, and they're usually support items that will make it so that you get more gold generation. Like you'll get more gold per the second or seconds just because you bought the item. And the reason that is because obviously, you know, supports are the only role that doesn't actually CS. Supports are the only role that doesn't actually like do anything in terms of like actively gaining their experience and their gold. So they have to have a little bit of help to do it, and that's why they get to have it. You do have a base stat of gold generation though. If you just sit there, you'll notice your gold start ticking up. That's also what it is as well. Movement speed, the value to determine how fast your champion moves. Range, the value, to determine how far away from a target you can be to attack, to use basic attacks. Now, range could also come down to the using abilities and stuff like that, but usually when someone talks about range, they are referring to the auto attack or the basic attack, not the actual ability itself, most of the time. All right, so these are pretty much all the stats in the game. As I said, I will definitely save this, and you guys can use it. I'll put it in my Discord, and I'll also have a timestamp to like let people know when we're talking about stats. So we'll go ahead and move this now to runes. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. Let's go ahead and move them to runes. All right. So I just wanted to get the stats out of the way because this is kind of in tandem with the runes. So now let's go ahead and go to the rune section here. All right, so we're gonna create a new rune set, and we're gonna actually make this white so you guys can see it a little bit better. There you go. Cool. All right, so we got runes. Now, as you see, there are there's 5 types of rune pages. You have precision, you have domination, you have sorcery, you have resolve, and you have inspiration. Okay? I'm thinking of actually breaking this up into pieces. So that way we can, we'll do that too. So I'll timestamp it below as well. So we're gonna just do this. And we'll timestamp it below. That way, if you guys want to skip through the runes because you don't really care about one, feel free. All right, so precision runes. If you guys haven't noticed, there's something that says show detailed descriptions during comparison or hold shift. What does that mean? Well, if you have this unchecked, look what happens. The description is a little bit more vague. It doesn't really tell you everything. If you have it checked, it will tell you more. It'll tell you based off how many numbers, and it goes a lot more in depth. I recommend everyone turning that on when you use it. Also, if you don't like the fact that you click them and it pops out like this, especially when you're doing secondary trees. It like kind of glitches a little bit. So like if we just, I'll just do this. And let's just say you like click that and then you want to like say click this, but then you want to go ahead and I don't know, click that one. You see kind of how it changed the Nimbus cloak instead of Scorch. Like it didn't change the right one. I could do it again too. So if we could do Nullifying Orb and I want to change Scorch, you see how it's like, it's weird. So the way that you remedy that is you can go ahead and click the grid system like that, and it has all of them popped out, and you don't have to click anything. There's no animations, and you could just have it selected like that. I think it's way better, and it's a lot easier to navigate with it like that, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about the precision tree here. So we have at the top something called keystones. In your secondary, you don't get keystones. You don't get keystones, and you don't get to use all three. Okay, so those are the two main benefits of having a main tree is you get to have the keystone and one extra slot, so to speak, to use the rune. So first up, we have precision. Hitting an enemy champion with 3 consecutive basic attacks deal 40 to 180 bonus adaptive damage. Ooh, there goes that stat. And remember, we talked about adaptive damage already. What is that? That basically means that depending on what your champion uses the most, do you use AD or do you use AP? Then it will scale based to that. It makes them vulnerable, increasing the damage they take by 8% to 12% from all sources. So press the attack basically helps you shred tanks and your team shred tanks. Or blow up people quicker, just like your team will be able to too. It's a mark that reduces, or that makes people do more damage to them. Now, when I first started with this rune, when it like was new, I didn't think about that, and then I read it more, and I was like, oh, from all sources. Oh, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of nuts. And you can mark multiple targets. I don't think it sticks to one. So you can pop one target with it. You can pop another target with it. Another one. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, unless they changed it. Next, we have lethal tempo. Gain 60% to 90% for melee, or 30% to 54% for range. That's a weird number. Attack speed for 6 seconds when you attack the enemy champion. The effect stacks up 6 times. So if we say that the effect stacks up 10 times, or 6 times, I'm sorry. While the effect is fully stacked, your attack speed can exceed 2.5, and you gain 50 if you're melee, or 75 if you're range. So let's back up again and talk about the stacks. So you see how it says 60% to 90%, right? That's basically saying you're not at full stacks yet. 90% would be I'm at full stacks. Okay, so when you ever see two numbers, it basically signifies the low to the high. If you see it based off level, again, it signifies the low to the high. So if it's like, I don't know. Oh, this was a good example. So you see how it's 40 bonus damage, and then it goes to 180. It's based on level. So as you level up, you do more damage. Does that make sense? So with lethal tempo, it's based off how many stacks you have per auto. So, you know, I auto attack once, twice, and I get my stacks going. Now, when it says it exceeds 2.5, the actual cap of attack speed for League of Legends is 2.5. You actually can notice this if you put your mouse over the attack speed on your little dashboard at the bottom. And the cap is 2.5. But with this, you can get higher than 2.5. It breaks the game, basically. So these are pretty much for champions that want to gain a really, really high attack speed or like long range. So let's say, for instance, I'm just going to use Udyr because he's always a simple champion. If he uses lethal tempo, because every 3 auto attacks his ability comes out, lethal tempo makes it so he does them faster, therefore his abilities come out quicker. You see what I'm saying? And then for champs that want attack speed, so we'll say, not attack speed, I'm sorry, range, we could say stuff like Callista, right? The benefit of having lethal tempo with Callista is you get to throw more spears into the target. On top of that, your range increases. So the runes are there to complement the champion. They're not there just for fun. This is why it's important to understand your champion, because you can have an edge over the enemies with it. This is why it's important to really understand it. Is press the attack good for killing tanks? I wouldn't just take it because it's a tank rune, but it does help kill like bruisers and tanks. So runes are really there to help with your early game more than your late game, but there are certain runes like lethal tempo which helps towards late game. So if we were to explain press the attack, it'd be more of an early game rune. And although it can help you kill tanks and bruisers later, you really use this for the explosive damage early to mid game. Lethal Tempo is more of a late game, and we'll talk about Fleet of Footwork and Conqueror next. I think it's better to take Conqueror or Lethal against tanks. It depends on the champ. Again, like if you can benefit from it. So we'll just use Aphelios as an example, because I've been playing a lot of Aphelios if you guys have been watching my Twitch. He wouldn't benefit as much from Lethal Tempo as he would from Press Attack, because it makes his damage more explosive, right? And the same thing can be said for Conquer. Conquer takes a bit to stack up. If your champion has a really hard time stacking Conquer, it's not really the best, right? So we can think of a champ like Silas. Silas likes Conquer because he can stack it in like half a second. You E, auto attack Q, like it's quick. But if we were to put Conquer on something like Fizz, he would take a lot longer to use it, which is why it's not a good rune for him. Again, these runes are for complementing your champion, not for necessarily what you're going against. I know it's a bit weird. But that is a good question. Now let's talk about Fleet of Footwork. So with Fleet of Footwork, this rune, it kind of works like, well, I guess Static Shiv's not a thing anymore. I don't know if there's a rune, or I don't know if there's an item that pretty much does it, but I'll just read it. Attacking and moving builds energy stacks. At 100 stacks, your next attack is energized. Energized attacks heal you for 10 to 100, and then there's the math, bonus AD and AP, and grant 20% movement speed for 1 second. Healing from minions is 10% effective for ranged champions and 20% effective for melee champions. Now, again, there we are with that number that increases, right? That means it's based off your level. As you level, the healing gets better. So this rune is usually for sustaining in lane. Again, a lot of runes are meant to be helping your early game. They really kind of make your champion a champion until you get items. So when you're in a lane where you think, okay, well, I'm going to be getting harassed a lot, maybe you're an AD carry. Mid laners sometimes take it as well. Top laners sometimes take it as well, like Gnar, right? When you're trading heavy, or you feel like you're not going to be able to do anything but just sit there and farm, Fleet of Footwork is a very good option. Again, you have to think about it based off your champion. Will I benefit from Fleet of Footwork? And it's hard to really pinpoint which champions can take things, because there are, especially if you main your champion, there are certain circumstances where you do choose different runes, even though it's not the recommended rune, or it's not the rune that you see on op.gg or u.gg. You know, sometimes the mains of the champion will like pick some other rune, and you might see like, why are they choosing that rune? Even though, you know, u.gg or Blitz doesn't recommend it. It's weird. That's why it's good to understand champ, because you could make decisions like that, and it will give you an edge over your opponent. And then last but not least, we have Conquer. So basic attacks or spells that deal damage to an enemy champion grant 2 stacks of Conquer for 5 seconds, gaining 2 to 4.5 adaptive force per stack. Stacks up to 12 times. Ranged champion gain only one stack per basic attack. Excuse me. So if you're a melee champ and you get 2 stacks per auto attack or ability, and you need to stack it up 12 times, you guys do the math. I know you guys are smart. It's 6, right? So with that in mind, you need to hit someone 6 times with abilities or auto attacks, and it'll be fully stacked. Now, when it comes to ranged champions, you'd have to hit them with well, I don't want to say 12 because it doesn't count as ability. As you see, ranged champion gain only 1 stack per basic attack, not per their abilities. So it's different, right? So it really depends on how you weave your auto attacks in with your abilities when it comes to ranged champions. Again, this is why reading these are very important, because like sometimes there's some things that you miss, right? Per basic attack rather than per actual ability and basic attack. When fully stacked, heal for 8% of the damage you deal to champions, 5% for ranged champions. And now, so Shaco is asking, isn't this better for tanks? What you see here is you're getting more damage from Conquer, like you beef up your damage. That's why they were saying, well, isn't it better for tanks? But if tanks are tanky, no matter what, right? Even if you have more damage, they still have that armor, they still have that magic resist. So realistically speaking, if it were down to a numbers game only, and we weren't even talking about proccing, it would still be press the attack, you do more damage to them, and from all sources, not just you. Now, if we go off of proccing it, this still takes longer to proc than Press the Attack does. Press the Attack is 3 auto attacks. So, again, But like I said, it depends on the champion. If you can't proc it, then there's no reason to take it. Now, let's talk about these sub runes here. So let me just kind of glance over the top. So Press the Attack. After 3 basic attacks, you do bonus damage. They take bonus damage from all sources, not just you. Lethal Tempo, it gives you more attack speed and it gives you attack range. For the footwork, it gives you HP back. I'll just say it heals you. It heals you once you reach 100 stacks. By moving around and auto-attacking and whatnot, it heals you. Conquer, it gives you bonus damage, and at max stats, it gives you healing as well. Okay? Now, the subcategory here, we have Overheal. Excess healing on you becomes a shield for up to 10 plus 9% max health. So again, this is one of those scaling runes that we talked about. Shield is built up from 20 to 100% of excess healing from yourself or an ally. So a lot of champs actually don't take this. Only some of them do, and it's a very small pool of champs that take this one. But it does just that. It gives you a shield. Okay, so the more that you're healed, it gives you a shield. So it's like an excess healing, it's like an excess shield just because you're healed more. Again, not many champs take that, so you probably never really heard of it. Triumph, takedown restores 10% of your missing health and grants an additional 20 gold. Again, this is something that might miss you. You might have not known that this gives you 20 extra gold per kill as well. Right, so it heals you when you kill somebody, but it also gives you 20 extra gold, and that's a lot, especially if you're snowballing. Presence of Mind, damaging enemy champion increases your mana regeneration by, there you go, it scales, there's the numbers, per second for 4 seconds. All energy users gain 1.5 energy per second instead. Takedown restores 15% of maximum mana or energy. So this gives you bonus regeneration for your mana and for your energy, as well as when you take someone down, it just gives you 50% of your maximum mana back like that. Really good rune for champions that are very mana hungry and love to take the precision tree. A good example is like Azir. A good example is like Jhin. Like these are champions that really aren't supposed to be in the thick of the fight. Therefore, why would that extra healing and extra gold really matter to me? Where I would like to have bonus mana. Ezreal's another one. Like really mana intensive champions that tend to sit in the back or that tend to not be in danger. Presence of Mind is better. The second row that we have, well, I guess it's the third, huh? Third row that we have is Alacrity. Legend Alacrity. So gain 3% attack speed plus an additional 1.5% for every legend stack. Max stack is 10. Earn progress towards legend stacks for every champion takedown, epic monster takedown, large monster kill, and a minion kill. So if you guys didn't know this, you actually don't need to kill champions to get any of these to max itself up. As long as you're killing your monsters, as long as you're killing your minions, you actually scale into the game without actually doing anything. So this one's huge. This one's huge. So you could tell if you actually end up killing more minions than the enemy, whatever you're going against, and they have the same rune, you actually get more attack speed before they do, or more tenacity before they do, or more lifesteal before they do. Pretty insane, ain't it? So just kind of think about it like that. But yeah, this one gives you bonus attack speed. This one gives you bonus tenacity. I'm not going to read all of it just because it's the same thing. And then this one just gives you bonus lifesteal. Okay? So based off what your champ likes, you would pick it per, instance. I think Overheal is very good rune for champions who buy lots of lifesteal like Yasuo or Philios. I would say, well, yeah, Philios, it's really good on. Because like I said, I've been playing a lot of Philios, and yeah, that's the rune that I like the most on him right now. But as far as Yasuo goes, again, it's kind of a toss-up because the champ is always in the thick of it, right? Would you rather have a shield that just instantly breaks, or would you rather be really, really close to dying, and then when you get a kill, you live? And you got to think, that champion is a champion that usually gets close to dying, right? So having Triumph over Overheal for that particular champion is a little bit more beneficial. Synergy of this rune and Bloodthirster is huge. Yes, I agree. Bloodthirster with Overheal is actually insane. And like with the Philios, with his pistol, right, he gets another Overheal shield. It's pretty nuts. I like it a lot. And then the last rune that we hit, or the last row that we have here is we have Coup de Grace, Coup de Grace is what I've heard someone say. I also heard someone say Coup de Grace. However you want to say it. Deal 8% more damage to champions who have less than 40% health. So basically, the lower they are, the more damage you do from 40%. Cut down. So this is to help kill tanks. Deal 5% to 15% more damage to champions based on how much more max health they have than you. Bonus damage goes up linearly against enemies with 10% to 100% more max health than you. So basically, if I have 100 HP and they have, I'm throwing out a number, 500 HP, then you do more damage to them. Okay. Last stand, deal 5% to 11% increased damage to champions while you are below 60% health, max damage gained at 30%. So you get to 11% extra damage when you're at 30% HP, and it starts giving you more damage when you're at 60% HP. So if you're a champion that's typically low a lot, or if you're a champion that really doesn't care about blowing someone up at 40%, if you're a champion that really doesn't care about killing tanks, this is the best thing for you. So a good example is like Kayn, Red Kayn. A good example is like Udyr. Really, if you're a champ that just gets low a lot in fights and you really are scrapping, it's a better rune than the other two. But again, it is per champion. It's different. So now that we did the precision tree, we moved to domination. Let's go ahead and write that. And remember, if you guys are interested in coaching, coachflicker.com is where you want to go. There is a discount for new students. That will be going away on Friday. So make sure you take advantage of that before it's gone. All right. So now that we have got rid of that precision, we go ahead and move to domination. So we'll talk about all of these. Again, if you guys had any questions or comments, please feel free to put them down. I will read them. Electrocute. Hitting a champion with 3 separate attacks or abilities within 3 seconds deal adaptive damage. What do we say? Adaptive damage is based off of what your champion has more of, AP or AD. And the damage is going to be 30 to 180, and that's based off your level. And then also you get bonus damage based off how much AD or AP you have. Cooldown is 25 to 20 seconds. So it scales down from 25 and it goes to 20 seconds. So I mean, with this, it's pretty self-explanatory. You hit someone 3 times and there's a bonus proc of damage right after. So it's like 1, 2, 3, electrocute. And it's an extra like oomph in your blow up ability, I guess you could say. Predator enhances your boots with the active effect Predator. Gain increased movement speed, ramping up to 25 to 50% movement speed over 1 second while chasing enemy champions. So that's a big thing. That's a big note. While chasing enemy champions. If you're not chasing enemy champions, it's not going to do it. After ramping up, damaging attacks or abilities to champions in this effect, dealing 20 to 180, again, plus 80 AP, bonus adaptive damage. So pretty much you just run at someone and then you do bonus damage when you get to them. Not many champions take this rune, and if you take this rune, you know you main your champion. I don't really recommend taking this rune unless you learn how to use it properly, because I do see a lot of people get baited into taking this rune and not using it properly. So be very careful with runes like that one. Dark Harvest. Damaging a champion below 50% health deals adaptive damage and harvests their soul. So again, adaptive damage based off how much AD or AP your champ has. Permanently increasing Dark Harvest damage by 5. So Dark Harvest damage is 20 to 60 based off level, and then plus 5 damage per soul, and then plus AD and AP damage. So this rune is basically a rune that's really good into late game. It's not a rune that you would take when you can end the game early. So these are for, especially in lower elo, there's a lot more fights going on, so you can harvest more stacks. But these are more for like one-shotting someone. It's just like Electrocute, but if the game is going to go long and you know it's going to go long, then Dark Harvest is just better. Hella Blades. Gain 110% attack speed when you attack an enemy champion for up to 3 attacks. No more than 3 seconds can elapse between attacks, or this effect will end. Attack resets increase the attack limit by 1, allows you to temporarily exceed the attack speed limit. So it's like lethal tempo, but it's for a shorter duration and it procs way faster. But it's only 3 auto attacks. So when you hit someone, you got 3 auto attacks of attack speed. Very champion dependent. Again, it's not really a rune that you would take mostly. If we go ahead and talk about like runes that tend to be a little bit more broad with the champion picks, it's going to be runes like Press the Attack, Conquer. For this page, it's going to be Electrocute and Dark Harvest, and I can even talk about it for the other ones as well. But usually these other runes, they're a little bit harder to use properly, and they are very niche for each champion. So kind of keep that in mind. Let's talk about the next row. So we have Cheap Shot. Damaging champions with impaired movement or actions deal 10 to 45 bonus true damage. So pretty much it says exactly what it says. Impairing them. Movement impaired isn't slows. If you guys didn't know that, movement impaired is things where like I can't move. So it's like snares, roots, stuns. Those are movement impaired things. Slows are not considered movement impaired if I remember correctly. So keep that in mind. Heal when you damage an enemy champion. Taste of Blood. Cooldown 20 seconds. I mean, it's self-explanatory. You heal them when you attack them. I don't really like this rune personally, but a lot of people do. Sudden impact after exiting stealth or using a dash, leap, blink, or teleport. Dealing any damage to a champion grants you 9 lethality and 7 magic penetration for 5 seconds. I just realized we didn't talk about lethality, did we? In our stats. Oh, you know what? Lethality is considered armor penetration. We did. So basically, lethality is their way of saying armor penetration. And it ignores the amount of armor you have. So this is just me throwing numbers. But if you guys didn't know, if you have 100 lethality, it's me throwing numbers, please remember. And they have like 500 armor. You are going to ignore a % of that armor based off the lethality you have. So I don't know if that clarifies things. So that's the same thing for magic penetration as well. You're going to ignore some of their magic, some of their magic resist when you do your stuff. Next we have Zombie Ward. Takedowns on enemy wards cause friendly zombie wards to sprout their corpse. Gain an adaptive bonus, and we talked about that, of 1.2 attack damage or 2 ability power for every zombie ward spawn up to 10. After spawning 10 zombie wards, additionally gain 10 adaptive force. So zombie wards, I'm just going to say it kind of simply, is that when you kill a ward, it's going to sprout up another ward. When you kill an enemy ward, it's going to sprout another ward, and it's basically considered a zombie ward. Now, the enemy can see it if they walk by it. It's not going to be the same as like a hidden green ward, but pretty much it's just that. You guys have probably seen it. If you guys haven't, well, now you know. When you hit a ward, it will pop up a zombie ward for you. Ghost Poro. When your wards expire, they leave behind a Ghost Poro, which grants vision for 90 seconds. Nearby champions can scare the Ghost Poro away and gain an adaptive bonus of 1.2 attack damage or 2 ability power for every Ghost Poro spawn, and when your Ghost Poro spots an enemy champion, up to 10 stacks. So, just like the zombie ward, based on how many of them spawn, is going to give you more adaptive bonus stats. And then once you hit 10, it's going to give you an additional boom into your damage, so like an additional 10 to adaptive force. Again, these are runes that you have to really keep an eye out on using. And this is why people usually just go eyeball collection, because it's a lot easier to use this one. So let's talk about this one. Collect eyeballs for champion takedowns. Gain an adaptive bonus of 1.2 attack damage or 2 ability power per eyeball collected. Upon completing your collection at 10 eyeballs, additionally gain an adaptive bonus of 6 attack damage or 10 ability power. Collect 1 eyeball per champion. So you can see why this one's easier to do. You just kill a champion, you get it. This one you have to ward and then leave a Poro, right? And it has to spot a champion too to gain, bonus. And then with the zombie ward, you have to clear wards. So you can see why people just usually take eyeball collection. It's a lot easier to do, and it doesn't require much thought. Last but not least, we have this row. So we have Treasure Hunter. Gain an additional 70 gold the next time you collect a bounty hunter stack. Increase the gold gain by 20 gold for each bounty hunter stack up to 150 gold. So you kill a champion, you get bonus gold. And Genius Hunter. Gain 20 item haste plus an additional 6 item haste per bounty stack. Kill a champion, you get more item haste. What does item haste do? It makes it so that you can use things like Zonya's Hourglass a lot quicker. The cooldown is lowered. And then this does work for things like Sheen, like Triforce. It works for things like Blade of the Ruin King passive. When you attack someone and it slows them and it like goes on cooldown. Like any item that has a cooldown, that has seconds, whatever, appears. This will help with that. Relentless Hunter. Gain 5 movement speed out of combat plus 8 per bounty stack. So kill people. Bounty Hunter stack is just always killing people. And one thing you might not know, Bounty Hunter stack actually means you can't kill the same target twice. So each champion has a stack on them, and you have to kill each separate champion. Okay, so that's something that I don't think Riot like explains. Oh, it says it right there actually. Good, because I remember they didn't used to. Is it when you don't have the details showing? Yeah. Okay, you see, when you don't have the details showing, it doesn't explain it. So that's just why I always tell you guys to just have it on so you can actually read it for sure. But Bounty Hunter stacks are earned the first time you get a takedown. So it has to be 1 per champ. Just remember that. It does not, I can kill the same target over and over and I get max stacks. It doesn't work like that. But yeah, you kill champions, you get movement speed. You get out of combat movement speed, which means you don't hurt anybody and you can move faster. Once you enter combat, you're slowed again. Ultimate Hunter. Your ultimate gains 6 ability haste plus an additional 5 ability haste per bounty hunter stack. Again, it's based on champion, but also ultimate ability haste is just for your ultimate. It's not for anything else. So this makes your ultimate a lot lower. So there's champions in the game, and usually the function of the abilities work kind of like this. The more impactful your ult is, the longer it takes for it to go off of cooldown. Shin is a prime example. The dude's ultimate is very, very long without this. So he needs to take this because it's a very impactful ability. Not turns another one. It gets lower, but again, they take it because it's a very, very long cooldown. So always just kind of remember that. All right, so let's go ahead and move to sorcery here. Remember, if you guys have any questions, please feel free. Please feel free. Did I spell that wrong? No, I didn't. It feels like I spelled it wrong. You guys ever have any words where you just feel like you spelled it wrong, even though you know you don't spell it wrong, man? I tell you, sorcery is one of them. Precision is one of them too. All right, so we have 3 keystones here, and I'm just gonna get out of the way right now. Which ones people usually take? So you usually have Airy, you usually have Comment. Only some champs take Phase Rush. Again, I was just kind of going over which are the common ones you would see. So what does Airy do? Damaging enemy champions with a basic attack or ability sends Airy to them, dealing 10 to 40 based on level. As you see, there's the numbers. Empowering or protecting allies with abilities, send Airy to them. That seems so weird. Sends Airy to them. Shielding them for, again, the numbers are there. So when you attack someone, think of it kind of like, I guess there's nothing kind of like it. When you attack someone, this kind of just, it's hard to like explain, I guess. But this will go after them and it'll hit them too. So it's like a double attack, basically. So if I hit someone one time, this will also go with it, and then it'll do a damage, and it'll then come back to me. And the cooldown is based on how long it takes for it to go to the champion and come back to you. Okay? Now, when you're shielding someone, it's the same concept, but it's a shield instead of damage. So the area will shield them for bonus. Okay? So when you hit someone, it's bonus damage. When you shield someone, it's bonus shield. Boom. Easy clap. Easy. And the cooldown is based off how long. So if the person is right next to me and I shield them, the area them will then come back to me really, really quickly. Versus if, let's say, I'm Soraka, right? And I'm in base. If I heal someone, the area is not going to go to all 4 of them. It's just going to go to 1. When it goes to that, it's going to have to travel all the way back to you. And then it goes off of cooldown. So keep that in mind when you're trying to abuse this rune, especially in lane when you're shielding or you're attacking. You have to do it based off how long it takes to get to you. So when it gets to you, do it again. Gets to you, do it again if you can. Arcane comment. Damaging a champion with the ability hurls a comment at their location, or if Arcane comment is on cooldown, reduces its remaining cooldown. That's something that I know a lot of people didn't know. So if you damage a champion with an ability, the comment gets thrown at them, you know that. But if it's on cooldown, it actually lowers the cooldown of comment if you can continue to CC. That's pretty nuts, right? The damage is just based off, there you go again, adaptive damage. And you can see the cooldowns there. Cooldown reduction for single target is 20. Area of effect is 10. Damage over time is 5%. So there you go. So basically, damaging any champion with an ability, the comment will come out. Now, it is not like Aerie where it goes to the champion. It actually is like a skill shot. It's going to hit near them. Sometimes it hits them, sometimes it doesn't if they can move out the way fast enough. This is why you usually see comment paired with like champs that have slows or snares or roots or binds, because it would be ineffective if you hit them, the comment comes out and it doesn't hit them, right? Next we have Phase Rush. Hitting an enemy champion with 3 attacks or separate abilities within 4 seconds grants 15% to 40% movement speed based on level and slow resistance, 75% slow resistance. So, if you hit someone 3 times with the ability or auto attack, whatever, you get a bonus burst of movement speed. You also get 75% slow resistance. And remember, that is a stat that we talked about. Tenacity reduces the duration of the slow. Slow resistance reduces the potency of the slow. So if the slow is 10 seconds, if the slow is 5 seconds, even though you have 75% slow resistance, it's still going to be a 5-second slow. The difference is the effectiveness of it. It's not going to be 100%, right? It's going to be 25%. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you are using Phase Rush. When you do have your slow resistance Swifty boots, whatever, it's different. It's different. Next, we have Nullifying Orb. Again, not really a rune anyone takes. Basically, when you get low enough, when your health goes below 30% HP, you get a shield that absorbs magic damage. If you guys know the item Hex Drinker or Maw Mortius, it's basically a little baby version of it. So, how to keep that in mind. Mana Flow Ban. Hitting an enemy champion with an ability permanently increases your maximum mana by 25 up to 250 mana. After reaching 250 mana, bonus mana, restore 1% of your missing mana every 5 seconds. So this gives you bonus mana and then also helps you regenerate it a little bit quicker. Pretty much it is exactly how it sounds. Nimbus Cloak. After casting a summoner spell, gain a movement speed increase that lasts for 2 seconds and allows you to pass through units. Increase to 5% to 25% speed based on the summoner spell's cooldown. Higher cooldown summoner spells grant more movement speed. Again, that's probably something you guys didn't know. So if I use Ignite, the amount of speed that comes from me igniting someone is lower. If I use Smite, the amount of speed coming from me from smiting someone is lower. But if I use Flash, it's faster. If I use Ghost, I'm faster. The higher cooldown abilities. So just keep that in mind as well, right? So if you're like, I don't know, Master Yi taking, I don't know why you would take this page anyway, but hear me out. If you're Master Yi and you have Smite and Ignite, it doesn't really help you that much, right? The Nimbus Cloak. You'd rather just go with the Nullifying Orb. It's a lot more helpful. You don't need that extra speed boost because it's not really that much, especially because you have 2 low CD spells, okay? Next, you have Transcendence. Gain bonuses upon reaching the following levels. So you get bonus ability haste when you reach those levels. And then on champion takedown, reduce the remaining cooldown of basic abilities by 20%. So not your ultimate, just your basic abilities. Basic abilities are QWE, I'm sorry. So pretty much that's what it is. You lower your regular QWE, you lower the time it takes for it to come back off of cooldown. I don't know why that was so hard for me to word. Celerity. All movement bonuses are 7% more effective on you, and you gain 1% move speed. So pretty much exactly what it says, and there's not much to really go in depth there. Absolute Focus. While above 70% HP, health, gain an adaptive bonus of up to 18 attack damage or 30 ability power based on level. Grants 1.8 attack damage or 3 ability power at level 1. And so there was a way, and it like showed all of it. Oh, it's probably absolute focus. I'm thinking of. Never mind. But so if you're above 70% HP, you get bonus adaptive. You get an adaptive bonus. So ability power or attack damage, a bonus of that if you're above 70% HP. Last row here we have Scorch. Your next damaging ability hits sets champions on fire. What? Let me reread that. Your next damaging ability sets champ. That just sounds so weird. Sets champions on fire, dealing 20 to 40 bonus magic damage based on level after 1 second. So basically, it's like a little miniature ignite when you hit someone with an ability. Okay. Water walking. Gain 25 move speed and adaptive bonus of up to 18 attack damage or 30 ability power based on level when in river. So when you're in the river, you gain movement speed and you gain bonus damage. Pretty cut and dry. Every 10 minutes, this is Gathering Storm. Every 10 minutes, gain AP or AD adaptive. So they're always just letting you know, like it's one or the other based off your champion's stats of AD or AP. And there's the time. So at 10 minutes, you get 8 and 5. At 20, you get 24 and 14. And it just goes on from there and there and there. Okay? So, again, feel free to ask any questions if you have any. We're going to move right on down. Now we're going to go to Resolve. Boom. Now we're at Resolve. So, boom. So the basic common ones that you usually see people take are going to be either Actually, these are all pretty common because they're all fairly easy to use. Tanks always get easy stuff, don't they? I will say Grasp takes a little bit more skill to use than the other two, though. So, Grasp of the Undying. Every 4 seconds in combat, your next basic attack on a champion deal bonus magic damage equal to 3.5% of your max health, heals you for 1.7% of your max health, and permanently increases your HP by 5. Ranged champions, damaging, healing, and permanent health gain reduced by 40%. It's just a way to nerf. This used to be busted a long time ago, so they just nerfed it. But pretty much anything that puts you in combat. Destroying a ward does not put you in combat, by the way, but hitting things like Scuttle Crab, Bomb Plants, minions, obviously champions, that puts you in combat. So if I'm CSing for 4 seconds, my next auto attack on the champion during that 4 seconds, unless it goes away, will do what it just says. I'll do bonus magic damage, I'll get health back, and then I'll also get permanently increased health. So, 5 permanent increased health. And that's why Sion becomes a really tanky beast, is because of that right there. But he also has it on his passive. So think about that. Next, we have Aftershock. After immobilizing an enemy champion, increase your armor and magic resist by 35 plus 80% of your bonus magic resist, bonus resist for 2.5 seconds. Then explode, dealing magic damage to nearby enemies. Damage is from 25 to 120 plus 8% of your bonus health. Resistance bonus from Aftershock capped at 80 to 150. It's funny because this actually used to have a passive that once it procced, you would actually get tenacity for free back in the day. Next we have Guardian. Guard allies within 350 units of you. And allies you target with spells for 2.5 seconds. While guarding, if you or your ally takes more than a small amount of damage over the duration of the guard, both of you gain a shield for 1.5 seconds. Cooldown is 90 to 40 based off level. Shield is 45 to 120 plus your ability power plus your bonus health. It's a lot of scaling. Proc threshold is 90 to 250 post mitigation damage. So post mitigation is basically like, let's say I have a shield, right? And I get hit for, I don't know, we're just gonna say 180. Post mitigation is after the shield got hit. So like after it broke. So I don't know if that makes much sense. Maybe let me not use a shield. Damn, I think the shield was just the best example. Also, post mitigation is things like armor and stuff like that too. So it calculates all that stuff in there. That's something that always like confuses players because it's kind of hard to explain. But once you understand it, you understand it. Next, we have Demolish. Charge up a powerful attack against a tower over 3 seconds while within 600 range of it. The charge attack deals 100 plus 35% of your max health bonus physical damage. So this is pretty much a tanky rune, right? The more HP you have, more damage you do to towers. Boom, easy clap. It does go on cooldown for 45 seconds though, so you can't use it on a tower and then use it again. It does go on cooldown. Font of Life. Impairing the movement of an enemy champion marks them for 4 seconds. Allied champions who attack marked enemies heal for 5 plus 0.9% of your max health over 2 seconds. So a very good supportive rune, right? Because if you hit someone and then they can just heal off of it, that's pretty good. Shield Bash. While shielded, gain 1 to 10 armor and magic resist based off level. So you get bonus magic resist just for being shielded, whether you shield yourself or someone else shields you. Whenever you gain a new shield, your next basic attack against the champion deals 5 to 30 plus 1.5% bonus health, 8.5% new shield amount, bonus adaptive. You have up to 2 seconds after the shield expires to use this effect. So when you're shielded, you get bonus armor and magic resist, plus your next basic attack is going to do damage based off those numbers that you see there. It's kind of a way to just kind of think about it. Shield Bash. You know, you're hitting someone with the shield, so when you put a shield on yourself, you're basically hitting them with the shield. It's pretty nuts. I actually like that rune. I just don't use it that often, but I do like that rune. Conditioning. After 12 minutes, gain 8 armor and 8 magic resist, and increase your armor and magic resist by 3%. It used to be higher than this, they nerfed it. But pretty much what this means is that after the 12 minutes, you do get bonus 8 armor and magic resist, but also your overall armor and magic resist are increased by 3%, which is why they had to nerf it. It's very, very strong when you use that as a tank. After taking damage for an enemy champion, heal for 4% of your missing health, plus 3 over 10 seconds. So this is just kind of something for laning. Once you get hurt and then you kind of back off a little bit, you heal up. Pretty self-explanatory. It's more of a laning rune though. After taking damage from an enemy champion, the next 3 spells or basic attacks you receive from them deal 30 to 60 less damage. So keep this in mind. It's from them. It's not from their team. So let's say if Soraka hits you with Q, it's going to block the next damage from them, not from the rest of the team. Remember that. Remember that when you take this rune. This is why there's some runes considered laning runes, because little hidden words like that people usually don't read, but you got to read them. Overgrowth. Absorb life essence from monsters or enemy minions that die near you, permanently gaining 3 maximum health for every 8. When you've absorbed 120 monsters or enemy minions, gain an additional 3.5 maximum health. So pretty much the way to sum it up is just when minions die near you or monsters, you get permanent health. There you go. That's a lot of wording for just like something that simple. Revitalize. Gain 5% heal and shield power. Heal and shields you cast or receive are 10% stronger on targets below 40% health. So your healing and shielding power are better, but also if they're lower than 40%, it's even stronger. And this again works for you or whoever you're shielding. Unflinching. Gain 5 tenacity and 5% slow resist. Again, tenacity is the duration the CC is. Slow resistance is the potency of this actual slow, okay? These values increase by up to an additional 20% tenacity and 20% slow resistance based on missing health, maximum value achieved at 30%. This is saying as you're getting bonus tenacity and bonus slow resistance based off how healthy you are. Once you reach 30% health, it is capped and you get that extra 20% to 20% slow and 20% tenacity once you're at 30% HP. Lower than that, it doesn't go any higher than 20, okay? Now we are on to the final one. Inspiration. Oops. Uh-oh. Covering runes is always a pain. So, inspiration. Did I spell that right? I did. Dude, I don't believe in myself anymore. How long have we been streaming for? And explaining stuff? My brain's fried. Okay, anyway. Again, the only rune that is common is either Glacial Augment or First Strike. Unsealed Spellbook is not really a rune people tend to take that often because it's hard to use. Some of these runes are just very hard to use and it just doesn't make sense to get them. Whew, okay, Glacial Augment. Immobilizing an enemy champion will cause three glacial rays, say that 5 times fast, to emanate from them towards you and other nearby champions, creating frozen zones for 3 plus 100% of the immobilizing effect's duration. So 3 seconds, and if you bind someone, let's say with Morgana, and it's 3 seconds, that's 6 seconds of the rays being there. That slow enemies for 30% to... That slow them for 30% plus 9% per 10% heal and... What? What? Slow enemies for 30% plus 9% per 10% heal and shield power. Plus 3% per 100 ability power. What? That's some wording for you, ain't it? Plus 4% per 100 attack. And reduce the damage by 50% against your allies, not including yourself. So, okay, let's... Jesus. Okay. Pretty much what this rune does is when you CC someone, remember, immobilizing, it's not slows, it's displacements. So when you CC someone, snared, root, bind, knock back, knock up, whatever you say. When you CC someone, it will throw out little ice rays on the ground, okay? And when those ice rays come down, it makes it so that people who walk through them are slowed. Also, this reduces the damage of whoever you immobilized. It'll be reducing their damage by 15% against your allies, but not you. It's a pretty nutty rune if you think about it. Unsealed Spellbook. Swap one of your... I'm not reading this, but pretty much what this does is you get to use all your runes. All right, so it's a book that allows you to select a rune and you can only use it once. So it's allowing you to use all the summoner spells in one game, but you can only use one. You can only use it one time. So like, if I want to use Ignite, then I can use Ignite once, and then I got to swap to another spell. Maybe I can swap to Smite, then I'll swap to another spell. So basically, you can use all the spells, all the summoner spells in the game. Like I said, I'm not going to read it all because it doesn't really matter. It's very simple to understand. It's just hard to use. This is what I said before. First Strike. Attacks or abilities against an enemy champion within 0.25 seconds of entering champion combat grants 5 gold and First Strike for 3 seconds, causing you to deal 9% extra damage against champions and granting 100%, 70% for ranged champions of bonus damage dealt as gold. So basically, if you hit somebody within the 0.25 seconds, you're going to start being able to do more damage to them. So basically, you do more damage to them, and you gain gold based off how much damage you did to them. So you do more damage, get gold based off how much damage. It's basically a damage amplifying rune. That being said, if you are hit, and I don't know why it's not telling you this, but if you do get hit, it goes on cooldown and you can't use it unless they nerfed it or they buffed it and that's not a thing anymore. I'm pretty sure it's a thing. I don't know why it's not written. Maybe I'm troll. I don't see it though. But yeah, if you get hit, this rune doesn't work. You have to go out of combat. You have to not take damage for a specific amount of time. So it goes on cooldown if you get hit before you hit them. It's really weird. So damage amplification plus gold generation, and if you get hit, it doesn't work. Boom, simple. Hextech Flash. So pretty much, while your flash is on cooldown, it's replaced by Hextech Flash. Hextech Flash, you channel for 2 seconds to blink to a new location. So basically, it's a flash with a channel. That makes sense? So when your flash is on cooldown, you used it already. You know how it's instant. Hextech Flash is you charge it up and you can flash again. So you can use flash without actually having flash. Magical footwear. You get free slightly magical footwear at 20 slightly. What? That's what they call it? Okay, my bad. You get free slightly magical footwear at 12 minutes, but you cannot buy boots before then. So basically, when you take this rune, you can't buy boots this is your boots. For each takedown you acquire, the boots. For each takedown you acquire, the boots 40 seconds sooner. What? Does that even make sense, or am I crazy? For each takedown you acquire, the boots 45 seconds sooner. I mean, I guess if it sounds shortened, pretty much for each takedown you get, you can get your boots 45 seconds sooner. Okay. Slightly magical footwear grants you an additional 10 movement speed. So basically, you don't get your boots for 12 minutes. If you get kills, it lowers the amount of time it takes for you to get your boots. And then once you do get your boots, you got 10% more movement speed than the regular boots you would buy. And this sticks with you when you upgrade it to the tier 2 boots as well. What are tier 2 boots? Pretty much, they're not called that anymore. Pretty much steel caps, merc treads, swifties, lucidity boots, I think that's another one. Magic penetration boots. The 10% movements, or the 10 movement speed still stays there. Perfect timing. This is what we call stopwatch. So begin the game with a commencing stopwatch that transforms into a stopwatch after 14 minutes. Each takedown you acquire reduces the timer by 120 seconds. Kind of the same thing as magical footwear. You get the stopwatch for free at the start of the game, but you can't use it for 14 minutes. If you get takedowns, it will reduce how long it takes to use it, and you'll be able to use it. When you use it, stopwatch can be used for a one-time 2.5 seconds stasis effect. What is a stasis effect? Basically means you don't take damage. You're frozen. Think of a statue, right? You're frozen. You can't do anything, but you don't take damage. So it's a very, very good item if you use it properly. Futures market. You can enter debt to buy items. Isn't it nice that they have a real-life rune in the game? I'm just saying. So basically, you know, if the item's 100 gold, you can, if an item is 350, you're buying a longsword, right? The item is 350, but you only have like 250. This rune will allow you to buy that 350 item, but you'll be at negative 150 gold, and it will, you know, be in debt basically. It's kind of how this works. So you can buy items that you couldn't afford, but you'll just be putting yourself in debt. And remember, there is gold generation. So you do come out of debt based off of just doing nothing, getting kills, farming minions, whatever. But basically, you're just in debt. You're paying it back. Minion dematerializer. Start the game with 3 minion dematerializers that kill and absorb lame minions instantly. Minion dematerializers are on cooldown for the first 180 seconds of the game. Meaning you can't use it for 180 seconds of the game. Absorbing a minion increases your damage by plus 6% against that type of minion permanently, and an extra 3% for each additional minion type that absorbed. So that's probably something a lot of people don't know. You basically use this to instantly kill a minion. You do more damage based off of that minion that you instantly killed with this item permanently. So think about that. Think about how easy it is to CS after you do that as a mage. Like I said, a lot of people don't know that, to be real. Biscuit delivery. Gain a total biscuit of everlasting will every 2 minutes until 6 minutes. Biscuits restore 8% of your missing health and mana. Consuming or selling a biscuit permanently increases your mana cap. Champions without mana restore missing health instead. So think of it as a potion that gives you mana and HP. And if you don't use mana, it'll just give you HP. You can even sell it in the store and it will still function by capping your mana, okay? Kind of keep that in mind. Last row we have is Cosmic Insight. It gives you plus 18 Summoner Spell Haste and 10 Item Haste. Summoner Spell Haste is how long it takes for your Summoner Spell to go off cooldown. Item Haste, again, we talked about that. It's how long it takes for your item to go off cooldown. Approach Velocity. Gain 7.5% movement speed towards nearby enemy champions that are movement impaired. This bonus is increased to 5%. Increased to 15%, movement speed for any enemy champion that you impair. So remember, immobilizing and impairment is different. Impaired is slowing. Immobilizing is not slowing, okay? So impaired, this will work if you're like Mundo, Ash. But immobilizing, you have to CC. You have to hard CC is what we call it. Hard CC generally means you can't move, right? So if you can move still, it's not hard CC. So this will work with slows. Basically, you chase things that are either CC'd, the card CC'd, or soft CC'd. You're quicker to run to them. I thought there was something that happens where you can run to your teammate too. Am I crazy? Maybe not. Top Work Tunic. Consuming a potion or biscuit grants 30% of its health or mana restoration immediately. In addition, gain 2% movement speed while under the effects. So pretty much, if you have a potion that heals you for 100, again, throwing a number out, heals you for 100, over time, the Time Work Tunic allows it for you to get 30% of that instantly. You don't have to wait. And then you also get bonus movement speed while using it. So, yeah, pretty much that's it. Ooh, that was a doozy. You guys got any questions, comments, concerns? Again, if you guys would like coaching, CoachWicker.com is where you want to go. For first-time students, there is a discount, but that will be going away on Friday. So make sure you take advantage of that. This was a very, very long one. I want to do items next. I don't know when I'll do them, but I do want to do items. So we are going to do that next class. But yeah, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. Like I said, these notes will be in my Discord. If you guys haven't joined my Discord, please join my Discord. And yeah, the notes will be there along with the video as well. So peace, late. Thank you guys for watching. Again, thank you for approaching this like a coach, as I always say, and have a good rest of your day or night whenever you are watching this. Later.